Still going live.
There you go. And we're live.
All right.
Welcome everybody to it's supposed to be a nice tech roundtable, but it's just Batman and Superman here because I don't know where Tori is. So Tori, if you're out there listening, if you're awake, chime in. We're gonna talk about the best and worst of consumer tech of 2014. It's
Okay.
actually probably won't be much of a long list, or it might be. Who knows? As I said, I got Superman here, aka Thunder E from BooredAtWork.
Hey, how's it going? How's everyone doing today?
Yeah. Just had breakfast, so I'm ready to go. Late breakfast, but better late than never. It's most important meal of the day, and it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. So I guess to get things started, I said 2014 was a year. I guess a year of letdowns because I guess it made it seem like this was going to be the wearable explosion, but it just turned out to be just a few things that was worthwhile, and the rest were just smaller companies trying to just chip away at it. Um, I don't know. What's your take on wearables? And
In
you know,
2014.
yeah, because they made it
Um,
seem like it was going to be the next big thing, and it's like still
oh
waiting.
yeah. I mean, I remember when we went to CES, it was wearables everywhere. Not like people announced major ones, but like small companies were trying to show different types of wearables. So we thought, okay, when the big boys make their rollout, whether it was Samsung, everyone else, that we're going to see a huge upload of wearables. Wearables were probably the biggest disappointment. I agree. I mean, I think it's probably the biggest disappointment because no one captured the wearable market. I mean, the only wearable that I like a lot, even though it's not the full wearable. I like the Microsoft Band, even though Engadget calls that one of the worst techs of the year.
Nah,
I like it. I mean, I don't like the design. I will agree on that aspect with everyone. I also don't like that it's a 1 day battery life,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I like the fact that at least Microsoft honestly came out and said, look, this is like a tech demo. We wanted to show our technology, but when you use it, it works well. It works
Mm,
very well to the point what it's supposed to do, all the fitness tracking and all that stuff, even using your Starbucks card on there, like just to buy stuff at Starbucks, it works. Now, you know, somebody needs to just take that and make it better. Like literally, Microsoft said, here's a platform, here's our software, here's the hardware you can buy, and just take that. So I like it for that. At least they didn't come out and say, hey, here's a final product, so to speak, and take it. The disappointments were many on the wearables.
yeah.
I mean, across the board. I like the Moto 360, but I
Oh,
think I like it as design. Design I like. On the software side, Android Wear just
and now,
disappointed me. Hello?
yeah, you were coming out a little bit, but go ahead.
Oh, can you hear me clearly now?
Yeah, you good.
All right. So yeah, Android Wear disappointed me heavily. I mean, on that aspect, on every Android Wear device, you name it, whether it was the 360, whether it was the LG G Watch. I haven't tried the Zen Watch, but I'm sure it's going to fall into that same category just because, Android Wear. And then you have the Samsung offering, the Gear 2, the Gear Fit,
Live, yeah.
Alive,
S.
the Gear S is like a mix. It's one of those where just because it's got that phone call functionality and it works very well, and you can forward your own phone calls over, so you can actually do call forwarding. So even if you leave your phone at home or
You
you
can
lose it,
still.
you still get calls on there. So the S is like again, but you can see my train of thought. It's like there's all that like and then and Apple announced Apple didn't give us a smartwatch, but they announced the Apple Watch,
Yeah.
and even that too I'm skeptical. A lot of people are I know a lot of people I've spoke to in the last couple of months are like, yeah, it's going to be hot, it's going to be the best watch in the market, and I look at it and I'm going, it's falling into the same trap of everybody else. It's trying to do way too much, in my view. They're talking about you viewing photos. I'm like, on a 1.5 inch screen.
Yeah.
Why? You know,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Quality's
Like,
gonna be crap anyway, so what's the point?
so what's the point? So I'm just trying to see. I'm waiting for somebody to take that to the level where, and maybe, like I said, maybe this is Microsoft's opportunity since they are the ones who now all their software works everywhere.
Yeah.
Anytime Microsoft releases software now, it's like, yeah, you can get it anywhere you want. So maybe they're the ones who can come out and say, here's a nice clean wearable that does all you want it to do and will work with your iOS, Android, Windows phone, heck, BlackBerry if you feel like supporting that type of stuff
Yeah.
altogether. So it was disappointing on wearables, I will say. I mean, there were some bright aspects, but as a whole, especially for all the hype that we were supposed to get this year in terms of wearables, and looking at CES coming up with all the press, this press info we're getting, is more wearables, but everybody's not kind of shifted to more fitness wearables now. It's kind of
Yeah.
like, yeah, everybody's like,
Yeah, we don't. We're gonna work this lane instead of trying to be your everything.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So, I mean, that I agree with you. That was wearables were a disappointment, man.
Now, did you get a chance to I know it's like it's not out there that heavy, but it's out there. The Razer Naboo. Did you get a chance to even see that or know
Yeah,
anybody
we
that had that?
we saw it at CES. We saw it at what do you call it again? E3.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right.
Sam's supposed to be getting one soon. Yeah, but the Naboo again was a little bit gamified. Like when I saw it, they hadn't finalized a lot of things, so I can't judge it. And
Okay.
it's not really meant to be a fitness wearable. In that it's almost like a gamer centric type wearable. You know,
Well, Razer, yeah.
yeah. So we're not sure exactly what they wanted to do because they wanted to have more gaming info on there, kind of thing. So this is interesting. There's one company I want to go check out at CES called Mota, Mota. They make the battery packs.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
They have a wearable ring. So like
Oh yeah,
like
that's right, that's right.
my ring, yeah. So and that one's supposed to give you like some information in the ring. I looked at it, I was like, you know what? If that's a fitness wearable, that would be dope. That actually would be dope for a fitness wearable.
Yeah.
But for a full-fledged, Twitter, text message, all that kind of stuff, that's just too much information on even a smaller square area. So I was talking because Michael Fisher was on the Pocket Now podcast, and he was like, yeah, he wants to check that out, and I was like, I see that as more as fitness. Like I can see people wearing that ring, fitness, and maybe payments. Like payment wearable. Where you can,
Oh yeah. Just
like whether it's using Apple Pay or use. I know
kiss the ring.
Apple won't let that, of course, but maybe Google Wallet, maybe your bus pass, but your bus pass, your T pass, your train pass, those kind of things, and just general payments. That's actually can be kind of dope because someone you can bring in, you just like tap your ring, or you go to the train station, you just tap right there. You don't even need to bring it. That's actually kind of cool. I
Yeah,
like
you
that.
leave your wallet at home and just kiss the
Yeah.
ring
I mean,
everywhere.
your ring. I mean, like, I wear my ring all the time. I mean, I like it's early morning. I'm wearing my ring, but I'm not married people. Just saying, this is
It's not the right hand.
it's my right hand. This is my left hand. This is my right hand. But I think it's dope. I think it's for those kind of things. Like, I hope they move that to that kind of category and look for partners to say, hey, look, whether it's PayPal or something like that, and and if you could add some kind of biometric, I know you can't do fingerprints, but maybe we take your skin samples. I don't know. I mean, it would be cool if it could do like your own personal biometric in the ring. So even if someone takes your ring, it's dead. It is
Yeah,
completely dead.
that'd be
That
dope.
would be dope. Where
Damn,
then
that'd
I
be
can
dope.
say I can definitely see me buying my taking my ring and and like I'm done. Like I don't need to do anything else. And then all I get is just email confirmation of my purchases or all that kind of stuff,
Transactions, yeah.
transactions and things like that. Yeah. So that I think would be dope. But like again, in terms of wearables, man, it's like
Yeah.
either here or there type thing.
Yeah, so I guess we can easily see the company shifting from trying to be your all to just strictly fitness, and then whatever the hell Android Wear has planned for 2015. We'll see. I mean, this was the inaugural year, first year out. So I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was, it's kind of like,
There was a lot going
yeah,
on.
yeah. Even though the Moto 360 is still like the nicest, but it's still like, you know, what can you do with it after a while?
I think because Google locked down Android Wear, it's harder. And again, I see why, because you don't want it to be skinned like regular Android with a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. But also it limits a lot of the companies to do stuff. So like I know Motorola was talking about they talked about the things that you could do with it, as just in general, when they were like, yeah, you could do this, you could do that, and everybody's like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then you get it, you're like, what happened? And you're like, well, we said you could. Is
We
it's
didn't say you
there.
will.
It's whether Google wants to do it yet. Excuse me. So that's where like those kind of limitations fall in. You're like, okay, what are we going to do from here? How are we going to move forward? Type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess moving on from that, before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's talk about platforms. I mean, you know, Windows Phone is kind of stagnant. Like they were kind of like not really doing anything this year. BlackBerry did more with their software than Windows Phone this year, at least from a user aspect. I don't know. What do you see? I just actually read something this morning that they were saying that there's a possibility that Microsoft might open Android apps support
To Windows Phone, yeah.
future Windows 10 and Windows Phone. I'm like,
The Windows Phone's gone. So I wouldn't say Windows Phone didn't do much. I think it did more and less at the same time. So remember, Windows Phone 8.1 came out this year, which was the
that's right.
huge
That's
leap.
right. That's right. I did forget
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
The problem is we didn't see the second push.
Yeah.
And this is Microsoft's ongoing problem with Windows Phone because if you know, I had the same discussion with Michael Fisher and we talked about this too. We're like Windows Phone goes through constant Microsoft reboots. Windows Phone 7 to Windows 7.5, mini reboot. Windows
Yeah.
8, big reboot. 8.8 to 8.1, mini reboot. Then we're coming to 10, big reboot. That's the like I can see where the problem is, right? The problem is they did 8.1, right? They thought maybe 8.1 will last all the way till Windows 10. The problem is Windows 10 is coming out at the end of the year next
Yeah.
year, right? So when Windows 10 comes out, it's going to be so fresh, new, and all that stuff. Now they've done a lot on the app side. The problem here is that they don't have a lot of the so some of the big app developers are being useless. Like how Snapchat took away all the Windows Phone apps this
Yeah.
year. And SixSnap is much better than anything Snapchat can ever make or do.
Yep.
So you have that there, and then you also have a lot of the banks don't have applications. So you may have like a Bank of America, you have like a Chase Bank, but the smaller banks don't have apps.
Mm.
So if you bank with a small bank or regional bank, you're gonna have an iOS app definitely. You may have an Android app. You're not gonna have that Windows Phone app. So it's either Microsoft has to find a way for better porting of Android apps where it actually works,
Yeah.
as they're trying to do for the meantime, or start paying developers to make this app. But the problem is you can't pay everyone, especially for the smaller companies. That's the thing. Like that's where a lot of people find a lot of issue because the big apps you will find your Facebook, you'll find anything big you need other than the Google ecosystem, which is just not there. But you'll find comparable YouTube apps and things like that all the way through. The problem you'll find is that you won't find your small companies, the places you use locally on Windows Phone. So I think in that aspect, that's where they've kind of you know hit the brakes a little bit. And with Windows 10, at least the good thing is that if you make a Windows app now, then it just covers across the board, whether it's Windows PC app or tablet app, and I think Windows tablets are making a bigger push than Windows phones right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree
Yeah.
with that.
So if you make a tablet app, then it's going to be on the phone anyway. That's the benefit that they kind of have moving to Windows 10. But I agree with you where that it kind of looks like they haven't done anything because they haven't done anything in the second half of the year. They did stuff in the first half, they
Yeah.
did in the second half. BlackBerry, and again, then Windows Phone also has the problem that they did not release any flagship device other than the 930 this year. But the
Yeah.
930 is the Icon, which came out last year anyway.
Yeah.
You
Just a
know,
GSM version of it.
I mean, granted, the phone still stands up. You know, the
Ah, of
15,
course.
yeah, 1520 still stands up, which is remarkable. You know, over a year, it still stands up to current competition. You know, safe. The only thing I'll say, the major thing now is that it doesn't have 4K, 2K displays. The Denim update has brought 4K recording, but
Mm,
so literally it still matches up with everything out there. But the hype of having a flagship isn't there. So people have kind of taken it away. Although I did read a study that said Windows Phone was number three this Christmas period
I believe
in
that.
terms,
They had
yeah,
so many sales of the mid, even with the mid and lower range
yeah,
stuff. There were so many sales. I mean,
sales,
it's
yeah,
hard to not to pick up at least a burner phone or something.
yeah, it was. I know because even the 635, kept on seeing that for like 39 bucks. AT&T, T-Mobile. I was like, maybe I should just like I don't need one, but I was
You
like,
don't. You got no
maybe
phone.
I know somebody who needs a phone. You know, I think you have that kind of situation there with that. So, it was. But I agree. I mean, I think BlackBerry has tried to do a few things,
That's
but
right.
they haven't put enough market presence. Like I don't think I know anyone who's reviewed a BlackBerry phone yet. I mean, we've seen it,
Yeah.
but we haven't actually reviewed one. So, that's a whole different discussion altogether.
Yeah. I'm trying to get a passport. I'm like, I mean, I want to talk good things about it. You got to send one. Um, yeah, I think their current marketing push is they're not trying to focus on the masses. They're trying to focus on business and whoever is still hanging in there. It's like,
You mean like Sony?
yeah, like I was about to say, that's not the best, but I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that turns out. I mean, as long as they're not paying any more brand ambassadors to claim they rock out with the BlackBerry and they
You
tweeting
mean
from their iPhone.
you mean Alicia Keys, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, didn't Adam Levine do that with
Yeah, she did that too. And she's Canadian too, right?
Galaxy Note and all my phone
Yeah.
stuff is silly. Uh, it's just a check to say, yeah, use it. It's like, no, you don't. Um, but surprisingly enough, a lot of people in music industry do use Blackberries as like a secondary device. But I'm like, these are the people you probably should be marketing to, but they're not.
Yeah, I mean, but you know how it is. You always want to bring the biggest name and then now and no. See, what they need to do is need to find out a celebrity who uses an Android device. That's a person, not someone who already uses an iPhone. It's like someone who uses an Android device, like say maybe LeBron James, just because I think Samsung has probably sat him down and schooled him how to use a Samsung phone and taken him away. But somebody like that where
Yeah,
it's
he's the
more,
best example because he's the only one that's really, that's like how you're supposed to be a brand ambassador,
yeah,
whether it's your
exactly.
choice or not. But I mean, that's how you're supposed to do it.
That is very true.
Everybody else be like, yeah, cut the check, and it's like you pull out, throw this shit away, and pull out this iPhone and bang out this tweet.
Exactly.
um, yeah, so Android, it's been a big year for Android and iOS as well. Android had Lollipop, Android L, then Lollipop, and then I said iOS had a big year only because of Apple Pay. iOS 8 wasn't, you know, I don't know.
iOS had a big year in terms of sales. I think the size, a lot of people, it really showed that. See, now this is the funny part because I had this discussion with my cousin. She's like, she's younger. She's like, well, everybody's moving to iPhone, and I'm like, no, everybody is upgrading from this small iPhone to a bigger
Bigger
iPhone.
iPhone.
It's not net. So this Christmas period, Apple had the biggest sales at 51%, according to I
Hmm.
can't remember the survey. Samsung was at 17, and then um, Windows Phone was third, and then Sony was fourth, which is actually interesting. That Sony actually, so that's a good thing for
That they
Sony, I guess.
that they ranked. Yeah.
Yeah, it was at 1.9. I think at Windows Phone was at 5.6 or something like that. So it showed, but to me, what it showed is that a lot of iPhone users were moving to a bigger screen.
Hmm.
Android users have not. I mean, there's a very small defect of Android users over to iOS. Because as an Android user, you looked at it, you said, well, I have a better camera, I have a larger screen, like the things that the iPhone offered newer. Android
Hmm.
already had it, so you didn't have that switch. But it did show that the demand for a larger screen size was there, and then iPhone users were not getting fulfilled in that aspect, except the ones who wanted to switch, of course, who took that risk, so to speak, in there. But it was interesting to see that this was the true year of the phablet. I think this was the year of the phablet properly,
Yeah.
where LG moved its standards phone into a phablet size, 5.5, You know, everybody, Huawei had a super humongous phone. Because remember last year we all said, the 1520 was too big at 6 inches.
I
Every,
didn't think so, but a lot of people did. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, the iPhone 6 Plus is bigger. Mind you, the screen is smaller, but the
like
whole
it's
phone is
the,
bigger.
like it's thinner, but the 6 Plus is probably like the biggest thing on the market right now,
Market, yeah, right now,
dimensions
exactly.
wise. Yeah,
Dimension wise. So you have that, and everybody went into a larger screen this way. I mean, Samsung had set that precedent a long time ago, but everybody finally like saw the writing on the wall and decided to make a phablet, and made a big phone. Even the iPhone 6 is bigger. Also, it's not a phablet, but it's 6 inch.
it's
It's five. It's 5 point something. The
it's
screen is 5 inches.
4.7
Oh yeah,
at
the screen.
at
Sorry, it's
at
four point
sweet
seven,
spot.
but the dimension size is 5 inches in
Yeah,
total. Yeah.
and then that
So
top and bottom bezel. Jesus, y'all need to get rid of that.
no, the bottom bezel can't go away because the Touch ID. The top bezel can.
They could shrink them a little bit.
It, a little bit
Probably
on the
not.
bottom.
Probably not the bottom as much, but the top. Yeah, like I don't
Yeah,
need that much room for a headset.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I definitely could see that happening, but it's one of those things where yeah, I would say 2014 was the year of the phablet.
Yeah, yeah. It was the Me
Sorry, what do you say?
Too because actually fourth and fifth note because of the whole Note Edge and Note 4.
Yeah,
Um, Everybody else is following suit, but the Note with the Note 4 and Edge proves that they're still doing things right because they're implementing software to make advantage of the real estate rather than just being a big phone. Like
hmm
that iPhone 6 Plus reachability thing where it comes down. I'm like, that's interesting, but it's too much to do that. Like it should just be a simpler gesture, like that tap something twice or something, and it's
And
straight
I,
down.
I would agree, except like you see, that's the problem I had with all the phablets this year is like everybody, even the Nexus 6. Sorry, if we're going to even mention that too. Every single device wanted to copy Samsung, except the one key thing Samsung does well with their phablet is two things. You have the S Pen,
Yeah,
which takes away the use of a double tap or anything like that. You always use your pen and use one hand, and then the multitasking, the idea that you actually have full multitasking to take advantage of the screen, which is why people ask me, Nexus 6 over Galaxy Note 4. I was like, I don't care how bad you call TouchWiz is, the fact that it does that alone is already outranks anything that phone can do.
yep,
You know,
I agree.
TouchWiz has its problems. I agree. I'm not even going to deny it. It's too much. There's too much system resource use. But the S Pen, anytime I want to write something down,
Perfect.
done. You know,
As much as I hate TouchWiz, I'll give him credit with the Note 4 that it was that it handled it a lot better out of the
yeah,
box.
yeah.
Because with the Note 3, it was like kind of lagging from the rip. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, no, definitely, and I think that's what we'll probably see next year from most of the phablets, an iOS uh 8.5 or whatever it will be, or 9 update, where they're gonna bring in some usability, maybe even bring in a pen accessory or something like that.
Yeah, LG was
Um,
talking about that. I'm like,
yeah, I mean, I think LG is the only one who's kind of copied to some because they do have multitasking on the LG G3,
yeah,
as well as you can write with your finger. So LG is the one who's come closest, but I think Samsung really has that like just down
yeah,
where
just
you,
years and years of perfecting rather than just coming out of nowhere with it. So
yeah, exactly. So I think we need to see that across the board, whether it's the even down to Windows Phone with the 1520, like if they make a 1530 or anything like that in the future, they need to. I mean, it will be easier with Windows 10 because that's already built into Windows 10. You can you can you can do pen support like this. I
yeah,
mean, that's the benefit I see with Windows 10. Like Windows 10 for Microsoft is so important in more ways than most people think. Just kind of digressing a little bit because some people go, well, Windows 10, for PCs, it's not really the PC side because Windows 10 on PC is Windows 8.5. Let's just call it what it is.
yeah,
It's
that's
it's
what it
8.
was.
It's the same. It's the same thing. I mean, I'm running Windows 10 now. It's runs fine, but it's just 8.5. They just changed the UI position for people who are comfortable with it. But when you move to things like your smartphone, where a lot of the Windows 10 function, because Windows 10, like every Windows computer can do everything. If you put it on the phone, then it can do everything too.
Yeah.
And then you now take it to say the Xbox, because the Xbox OS is running three OSs at the same time right now. It's
Yes.
running Xbox, is running a partial Windows OS, is running a third OS to make all three talk. So when Windows 10 comes around, Xbox just becomes like literally you should see cross-platform and gaming between PC and Xbox. It should be off the bat.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and that means that when you make a as a PC developer now making a game for the Xbox should be the fastest thing possible. You know, that should be your lead platform because if you're building on PC, then you're getting taken to the Xbox first before you even go to a PS4 or and also again, I think for Microsoft the Xbox that's something where you see better performance of the Xbox because Windows 7 and Windows 8 are lighter operating systems compared to my Windows XP is great at XP version 3, but it's also a
Yeah.
very heavy OS. It took up a lot of system resources at the end of the day. So we'll see how that is in 2000. I know I digressed all the way down to Windows.
All right, we got some questions over here. Let's get at this. Chris, what's up, Chris? Do you think that phones are going to continue to get bigger, or have we reached the size limits for phones? I think if they get bigger, it's not going to be at any time soon, at least not in 2015, but who knows what these guys have in their pipeline. What's your thoughts on that?
I think we've reached the limit, but I think companies like Samsung they will throw in like Samsung will throw in a device just to test the water. They threw in the
Hmm.
alpha, like they threw in the alpha and they're scrapping it, and everybody's like, why? Like, no, they just want to test a certain design, and
Hmm.
everybody likes it. So what's the point, right?
Yep.
They would probably throw in a Mega 3 or Mega 4 at like
I was thinking
seven
the same
inches,
thing.
you
Yep.
know, and if it buys, it depends on what markets. Remember, it's also market to market comparison. So remember, the Galaxy Note was first like a Korean thing in Southeast Asia, a lot of people, and then it came to the US through AT&T, and now it's like I need a Note everywhere. The Mega
Yeah.
is still a very more international thing because you think about it, not everybody has the kind of spending power we have in the US or in the Western countries. So when you buy a phone that's 7 inches, that is a tablet and a phone. And maybe you already use a Bluetooth headset. So what's the point, right? Like, why do I need to hold the phone in my ear? I can always have a Bluetooth headset on. A lot of people do that. So, that might be possible. But I think in certain markets they'll test that out, and I think that's something that um, will depend from market to market. But I think in terms of size, I think we've reached that. 6 is probably the limit right now.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Chris got another question. Was 2014 the year when weatherproofing became mainstream? I would probably say yeah, but not. Some companies advertised it more than others, but it was definitely in a lot more phones than we probably ever seen ever this year. So I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. I was a little bit disappointed the Note 4 didn't have waterproofing, and I think maybe it's the S Pen that's probably causing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to do that. They haven't found the way yet. But the S5, even still, whenever they push the S5 ads, that's the first thing they push.
Hmm.
HTC had some coding on theirs, didn't really push it that much, but it does have some coding. Sony, is like that's the number one thing. Um, Microsoft hasn't, but I can tell you, Lumia devices do survive water, even though they don't they don't advertise it.
He's like, I know.
Yeah, I know. But even back to the 920, the 920 actually had like a light layer of coating on there. But
Hmm.
I think you will find that more and more companies. I hope that's a big general shift, so we don't see separate waterproof phones unless you're doing for like a super rugged device. Maybe for certain work environments. But when it comes to waterproofing and like dust proofing phones, I hope we see that as a standard for 2015, where every device off the bat, if you drop it in the toilet, and pull it out, or if you want to stick your hand in your toilet, sure. Um, your phone isn't going to die or anything like that. So
Yeah.
I think that would be a standard.
All right. Cool. And Lou Rod, what's up, Lou Rod?
Sub Lou?
Rumor has it that the iPhone is going back to a 4-inch device in 2015. I think that's more so them creating, taking that 4-inch size and making a budget device to go with the 6 Plus
I
S, the
I think I
6S
think
or
we're gonna
whatever.
have three SKUs of iPhones next year.
You said
I
3?
think we have three. I don't think it's going back. I think we're gonna have three. I think we're gonna have a 4-inch iPhone.
Yeah,
We're gonna have a 4.7. We're going, oh, basically, and then 5.5. I think we're gonna have three SKUs because before I would say Apple will not do that, but Tim Cook is not Steve Jobs, and
yeah,
he will
yeah.
push it as
This is
far as
his.
he can. So I can definitely see that 4-inch iPhone for those who feel comfortable with that. It's not going to be in larger quantities. I think the main SKU is still going to be the 4.7. And I think you're going to see a lot of people also have the 5.5. So I think the 4-inch is probably going to be the third SKU, and also in terms of the amount of devices that will be pushed um, for the iPhone 6. So yeah, I think we'll have three SKUs of iPhones, but I could be very wrong. They might just go 4 inches and say, "Sorry, we tried, it didn't work." Who knows?
Yeah,
But
right. I doubt that. Well, since we talk about phones, let's lay it out on the table. What's the best? I guess we'll start with the worst. Let's start with the worst phones of 2014.
worst phones. My worst
I don't
phone will
think it's a
be
long
the
list.
Nokia X.
Over the Fire phone?
I haven't tried the Fire Phone. I did a demo of the Fire Phone. It worked well, and then so I wouldn't judge. Like off the demo we did, like it was speedy as hell. You know,
There
but
she is.
I'll say the Nokia X is my worst phone because man, that phone was just so janky.
Mm.
And Microsoft sold a lot, so kudos to them.
Hey, why not?
They sold 1 million off the bat in China, I believe, from pre-orders.
Why
So
not?
hey, I would say for me that's my worst phone. How about you?
I would kind of still lean with the Fire phone only because it was great, it was innovative, but I think it came too late. I think if this came out the time HTC came out with the 3D Evo or something, it would have made a killing because
Probably.
people still have those things. But I just think the fact that you come out with such dope technology, I play with it. It's impressive, but you've fallen on deaf ears, deaf eyes. Nobody's interested in that. I mean, and then you already Amazon's already climbing an uphill battle because of the fact they don't have any Google services. So I mean, Microsoft can do it because they have enough stuff, but Amazon they're getting there. They're not quite
Oh,
there to
you said
really.
sorry. So you said Firefox. So I thought you meant Firefox OS.
No, the Fire
Yeah,
phone, Amazon
yeah. My
Fire.
bad. Yeah. I agree with you with
It's
that
like,
one.
you know what? Yes, add that to the list.
Yes, add it to the list. Add it to the list. My bad. Sorry. For some reason I was
Absolutely.
thinking it was Firefox OS you were talking about.
Nah, I didn't play with that. Nah. I mean, I wouldn't judge Firefox OS because it's not a big release out there for people to really like. It is, but it isn't. But the fact that Amazon, they, I'm curious to see what they do next because I know they definitely learned a lot from this. But like I said, it was a great device. It just was doing stuff that nobody was interested in.
Hmm.
But that's it. Like I said, it wasn't. It was a lot of stuff. Stuff was either okay or really good. Worst, very short list. Um, I don't think Tori is. I see her, but I guess she's not ready yet. So
Well,
I'll
I
get to
can
her.
hear you perfectly fine. I have no input on the fire phone.
Okay, now that you're here, welcome, Tori.
Hi.
That's my
Yes,
fault
this
that
is
she came in
not
late.
really, that's my fault because I was
No,
like,
that's my fault because I said noon. I forget you're in a different time zone. So yeah,
didn't think of that. See, you got the
I know. I know. I think globally instead of locally. My bad.
right.
Um, but all right, Tori. What was your worst phone for? What would you thought was the worst phone for 2014?
You know what? I'm been waiting to like throw some shade at Walmart, so I'm just gonna go ahead and not necessarily a phone, but they had me reviewing phones for them, and all of the phones that I reviewed suck, and their service suck. So I'm just gonna shade Walmart with that. I haven't had any because I haven't had any horrible phones this year. Like the phones that I review have been phones that have been hot or that people have wanted. I haven't gotten anything that I felt like, like the G3 I had, that was dope. The Note 4 I have right now. At the end of last year, I did the Note 3. I haven't had a bad phone this year. The M8 was nice, but that's my fault for only reviewing good phones, huh?
Maybe,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
guess.
you get what you can get. I mean, it's hard to get phones these days. You know, people like PR people be acting funny sometimes.
Yeah, but no, I just wasn't really looking. I wasn't really looking to review like run of the mill. Even I did the Nokia, their mid-level phone, and that had a bit of a lag, but it was still a dope phone for that price point. So
Yeah,
Hmm.
the only bad phones that I've gotten, like I say, have been from Walmart on T-Mobile's
good old
Walmart Family Mobile Plan,
Wally
and
World.
yeah, and they have not been. I've had so many issues with them and their service, so took the opportunity to shade. That was like a commercial for why you should not buy their phone.
Aha.
Take it from Tori.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Cool. What was okay? Now, what would you guys consider the best phone or phones for 2014?
Oh, that's simple. I can give you my list right now. Boom.
Got a list.
I already did my top five, but my number one phone. Actually, I'll start from the bottom. My number five phone is the Lumia 635. Um, Pricing, even when it launched, it was like 100 and something. You know, you can get it for like $39, whatever the price is. For the price of the phone and for what it can do, that's you just if you need a phone, just go pick that up. Just pick it up, either an AT&T or T-Mobile. I know it's not available on Verizon or Sprint, but that is the best cheap phone you can pick up at this point. So I will give it that. My number four is the One M8. You know, HG fanboys would probably bitch that I put it at number four, but hey, you know what? HTC just didn't do a good job with the camera. It does it
Yeah.
works well low light, doesn't work well under circumstances. Just didn't pack enough, but it still is a solid phone. My number three device is the Moto X. It's the best solid smartphone you can get anyone who says, look, I want a good phone. It's got decent this, decent that. The Moto X covers all that in a very good medium package. My number two is the LG G3. It came out early in the year, but it still stands up to the test towards the end of the year in terms of all the features, camera, 2K display, all that. And my number one is the Galaxy Note 4. Nothing beats the S Pen. That's it. I mean, it's got the best camera on Android right now, plus all
Yeah.
the other features that Samsung
100%.
throws into it. So that's my five phones for the year.
Tori,
Yeah,
you
I was
need
at a toss
you need
up,
more
but
time, or you good?
no, 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 no. I was at a toss up between the Note 4 and the G3. Like those, like I'm currently using the Note 4, and I used the G3 for so long. Like I'm not sure if I could give either one of them a top because I love both of them.
No,
Um,
put them both in. That's fine. It's your
yeah, but
list.
you know what? He was saying his Moto X would have been his number three, and that was a nice phone, and I wouldn't have even like put them in my top five. So thank you for that. I forgot about them.
No, I mean, like, I think Motorola did like some good phones this year. You know, you've got the Droid Turbo.
Turbo.
It's a good phone. It's just that it's only on Verizon. The Nexus 6, but it's also phablet and it doesn't bring too much there. So I picked the Moto X as like that balance in the middle where,
22. Yep.
Motorola's like, best of everything kind of in there altogether.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I wouldn't have like the Droid Turbo. I know it's kind of like but the Moto X I liked. Like I used it for a long time, like exclusively. So as my only
Okay.
Android phone. So, but yeah.
That's what's up. I guess my answers would probably be similar. I got like four phones that I probably love. That would probably be like the Note 4, the G3. I had a brief time with the 2014 Moto X. That was still dope. And then the OnePlus One. Even though it's hard to get and their marketing has been whatever,
Nah, man, bust
I
those
love this
guys,
phone.
man. I'm not putting those guys on the list.
That's your Walmart.
No,
I'm
no.
sorry.
OnePlus One is a good phone. Now they have two problems. They run CyanogenMod on there. Its OS likes to restart every single time, and you can't buy. And their marketing was terrible. Why can't you buy the phone till now? I mean, come on,
I
that's
know.
just bullshit.
I know.
And and
But
all
the
that.
phone is. I know. I'm with you 100%. But I love this phone. Like That's me.
All right, that's you, but that
I haven't
phone,
had those problems you talking about, like restarting and stuff. I haven't had
it,
any problems
it
with
always it
mine.
always had it always did some restarts and little annoyances, but it is what it is.
Alright. Should we even bother brush over tablets? I mean, that's going to be a short list.
If it's not
Or
a
will it
Windows
be?
tablet, it's garbage.
Well, what's your top
Okay.
Windows tablet?
No, you know what? I'll state it for you right now. The iPad Mini 3, rubbish. Get an iPad Mini 2. It's a waste
Me
of
too.
money.
Yeah, yeah. Waste
Um,
$500.
iPad Air, it's 3. I mean, who cares? You're making it thinner again for what reason? Like you didn't throw anything in there. And then you now go to the Nexus 9. Okay, fine. It's got front fine speakers. It's great. You still can't do anything with that screen size. Like my problem with Android and iOS tablets is that as refined that they've gotten, all I can do is watch movies with it. But when you have the Galaxy Note 4 or the LG G3, which is big enough, why would I even care carrying a tablet like that? Like I'd rather go with the Nexus 7.
Well,
Nexus 7.
here's part of the problem though. For techies, we tend to not have a whole lot of use for tablets because we'll use our computers and our big phones, opposed to a regular consumer who'll use their iPad all of the time. So I think if
Yeah.
you think of it outside of the box, because I've had to help a number of my family members and other people get tablets, and I don't understand their ideology. Why would you want like an iPad mini or whatever it is that you're going to get versus getting a bigger phone or just
No,
sitting at
I agree with you. The problem there is what, like, I remember going to the Microsoft press event for Surface Pro 3s that people always face. They bring their iPads, they do all these entertainment consumption stuff, and then when they want to do anything slightly productive, they drop that, they pick their laptop up. That's why I hate it. That is completely why I hate it.
right? No,
Because
no, and I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying that you have to look at it from a different perspective because there's a market for people who are not tied to their computers as we are.
no, I agree, but what I'm saying is that I want to see more product. You can push productivity to those tablets. I'm not saying that they're
Okay, I
useless.
got
I'm
you.
saying that if somebody would ask me what to pick up, I'll tell them go pick up a yoga with Windows on it because
Right.
you can be more productive and enjoy all your entertainment
Oh, the
factors
yoga
on
tablet.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm just saying that Google with the Nexus 9. The first thing I saw was a folder with Google Works, like all the work functionality. But still, I can't use it effectively on that tablet. I'm like, you're trying to push it, but you're not giving me the tools to use it well.
Yeah.
So anyone who still wants to use it will drop it, pick up their laptop or go to their PC and do some rather than just say, hey, why can't I just like split my screen?
Right.
And I mean, those are the kind of things I'm like, to me, somebody suggested, I'm like, don't even waste your time. You might as well get this. If you still want a tablet, get the Yoga because it's got great battery life, and then you can still do all the work you want to do. So that's why I said all Android tablets and iOS tablets are useless to me.
Good point. Valid point. I don't really have any good tablets for gaming. I have them. I mean, I use them, but it's not like. I mean, for me, tablets are a marketing fad. I mean, it's a reason for just sell some hardware. Like I said, it's good for entertainment, but it's just like when you're charging like $500 for something, it needs to do a lot more than just be able to just watch movies, like you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
Yep. I think we have a few
So,
more questions for
oh,
Q&A.
yeah, I was literally about to say that. Lou Rod, what new features in 2015 are you looking forward to, and do you feel feels the iPhone put wireless charging in their phone? It would be the norm. Me,
Yeah,
Wait, what?
there was you say I think he said what new feature do you want to see in 2015, and he also added that if iPhone adds wireless charging to their devices, it would be the norm. Everyone would have wireless charging.
but wireless charging it's like one of those things that's not really advertised, but it's there. It's on more phones than less these days,
Not
or
really
not,
though.
or still
No,
not really.
not really. I mean, you always have to get an accessory. Like the G3 and the Note 4
Oh
can do
yeah,
wireless
yeah,
charging, S5, but you have to get an accessory for either the new,
Yeah.
the back plate or something. It's Nokia is the only one who pushes wireless charging. Where even now there are mid-range devices like the 735 has wireless charging built in, but the problem with wireless charging, I think, is it doesn't charge as fast. Especially now you got that supercharging on like the
The
Note
turbocharger.
4 turbocharging. Yeah, I know they're coming out with a new stand that would match that in speed. But it doesn't charge as fast, and no one necessarily knows it. So I mean, wireless charging might fade away. It all depends on on what happens. Unless if Apple puts it in, then yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Everybody's
well,
like, yeah, we got wireless charging too. But
yeah, definitely. Definitely. That'd be like, oh, we got to change our marketing. They did it. We got to do it now, too. Chris says, worst tablet of the year, iPad Mini 3. I think we could agree with that.
Yeah.
That was a waste. Are tablets too expensive? Or are laptops too cheap?
That's a good one, man. That is a good one. Yeah, tablets are too expensive.
Yeah. I don't know if laptops are too cheap.
No, but I think they are because, they're trying to gauge or put out lower end laptops for people who don't really use them a lot. Like my aunt brought a laptop for like $200. It was something really cheap, like $300. I was like, what exactly do you expect to get done with that?
What is it? A Chromebook?
I don't know what it is. I think it was like outdated or something, but she brought it, took it back to the store. But I was just like, what exactly do you think you're going to be able to get done with that? Like these lower market computers are really for consumers who don't, they would be better as tablets, and people unfortunately are.
Well, I think it's a little tricky though, because if you're looking at like Android and iOS, those are still expensive in my mind. Like the Nexus 9 is what, 4 something?
For 400 Wi-Fi starting,
yeah, starting. And then we all know how expensive the iPads are. So that's that. But I think when it comes to Windows tablets, those are cheaper and they work well. I mean, I've used a $100 Windows tablet that works as well because it's running the Intel Atom processor, which you can find on an Android tablet, and it works well in that aspect, where you can do basic things as long as you're the person that wants to browse the web, edit a Word document type of thing, maybe edit an Excel spreadsheet, but not do anything heavy. You can do with those. With Windows tablets, yes, but cheap Windows PCs, no. That's a whole different category altogether. Because, yeah, I agree with you, Tori. When you buy that buying a 200 Windows PC is not the same thing as buying a 200 Windows tablet. 200 Windows PC is like going to hell and coming back with the worst product possible. Buying a $200 Windows tablet is a completely different ballgame. That's actually a very effective tablet. So I would suggest anyone who wants to buy anything $200 in Windows, just buy a Windows tablet. Don't touch the PCs, because those PCs are running Celeron processors from like 4 years ago.
Yeah, even Chrome. Wow, damn.
Yeah, so I would suggest just go with, but I kind of agree. It's one of those funny areas where PC manufacturers are trying to play like margins games. They're just throwing stuff out there to see what will stick and see what they can push, especially through the holiday period. Because most people are like, oh wow, that's a $200 computer, and they just throw like a 500 gigabyte hard drive in there, like, ooh, it's got a lot of storage space, and then it's true, and then you fire it up, you're like, why is it taking 15 minutes to load up?
Yeah.
I don't think they realize though that that's what's happening there. They're just like, oh, it's okay, we'll do this or whatever the case is. So, especially for people who don't understand, like my aunt, who had to take the computer back because she didn't consult with anybody who,
Right, so, that's what happens. You don't consult. You
I'm telling you, they'll see a commercial out there and they'll be like, oh, okay, or they go into the store and somebody who's trying to make a sale doesn't really care about them, will have them purchasing this stuff. So I think it's a little bit of both, Chris, to answer your question.
Yeah. Don't forget QVC too.
Oh yeah.
Right. I had a friend of mine. She bought a camera off QVC. It was an older model. So say I have a I brought a 5100 when it was new. She brought a 5100 when the this is Nikon I'm speaking about. The
Yes.
5200 was out. She paid 3 payments, and I think they totaled up to like $700 for a bundle. And I was like, wait, what?
What?
Why did you do that? Yeah, because she don't know no better. She just wanted a nice camera.
Yeah,
I was like,
my brother be like that too. Oh, you saw this stuff on QVC. Like, stop watching that shit. Oh, all right. Chris got a few more questions. Mike got a question. What do you think of the state of wearables will be after Apple releases its overly expensive Apple Watch? Will we have seen it all?
She's trying to
I don't care about any other watch except this one right here.
I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. Apple Watch is gonna come out. Stay tuned. I'm gonna do a comparison between. I'm gonna get that $5,000 Apple Watch, and I'm gonna compare it with a Rolex, and I'll tell you who's gonna win right now. It's gonna be that Rolex.
Yeah.
Just letting you people know, because I can still sell that Rolex for the same amount of money.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, like somebody's
as soon as you buy the Apple Watch, it's already lost value.
What's the starting price of the regular one? The regular watch supposed to be? I forget.
500.
Price of an iPad?
They released the information so long ago.
Yeah.
It's like either 3 something or 5. I know it's higher than everything that's out there already. It's like maybe it's like 350, and then the gold one is 5,000.
Okay, 350 is it's what I would expect Apple.
I need the watch to look like this and not space age like it looks, and then I need to do everything that does.
But be mindful. This is still like I wouldn't say 2013 had the Galaxy Gears and stuff, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't count. So this is really the first year of smartwatches. So,
Well, no, I think those count. I think I have one here. I think those count. I think that they just were not that. I do have one.
Yeah,
they were not.
The Pebble did more than that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that I think wearables were in effect last year. I think that consumers really started wanting them, and that's why they had to kind of up what they were doing with them. Because if you remember, you probably don't, sorry, Rob, but at CES last year, there were like so many wearables, like so many weird, like just they had stuff for necklaces on cameras and stuff like that. So they were there. It's just that consumers were really like, what can I do with this?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
That's a good question. What can you do with this?
I think you're right to a certain degree that the first Gear, because even though the Pebble was out there, Pebble was a Kickstarter, and we all treated it that way. Like we all treated it like, oh, that's cute. Yeah. Keep working on it. Let's see what you got. And then Samsung, I think Samsung did it right with those TV ads of Spark and Dick Tracy and all that stuff. Right? Everyone was like, for real? Immediately they sold they shipped 1 million to stores, and they sold like more than half of that. So everybody was kind of like, okay, all right, what is it? And we went to CES, and it was a matter of everybody was trying to throw some stuff out there. And then Android went ahead, and we see the Moto 360 and all that. Like we said earlier, wearables promised a lot this year, did not deliver. The Moto 360, like I said, I like, but the software didn't deliver. The software's been getting updates now, where it's doing a little bit more, but it still didn't deliver on some of the promises that they put out, this year for wearables.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, safe to say. So we got a few more questions in this. Oh, we got a bunch more. How do you feel about the Note Edge experiment? Anybody play with it? I know you had it, right, or no?
I love the Note Edge. Love it. I absolutely I know. I see Tori's face. She's like, eh. I love the Edge because, first of all, it's in Notes, so you get out of the way. It does everything your Note does. I love the Edge for the simple fact that I actually, there's one thing that I like from Windows Phone. I don't like to with Android or iOS, any other smartphone. This is what I tend to do at the end of the day. I tend to just do this. Sorry, I tend to keep scrolling through, trying to look for stuff, or just for some reason my finger just keeps scrolling through for no reason. Anytime I pick up my phone, I do that half the time. My Note Edge, all my apps on the right hand side, and I don't do that. It may be silly, maybe it's a small thing. I
Yeah, that's
like,
a weirdo quirk. That's the E thing.
yeah, I mean, no, like I said, I said it may be just me, right? But I like the fact that I have all my apps on the side,
Yeah.
and I have found myself going in and out of my phone faster with the Note Edge than any other phone I use, or maybe unless I'm down to a Windows phone where I pin everything in the front. But it's kind of, for me, it's the same mentality where it's easier for me to do now. In terms of more functionality, there's not much other than the camera using that, but to me, it doesn't, as long as it doesn't take away. So that's why I don't dig it. I don't ding the phone, because it doesn't take anything away from my experience. It's still easy to use, and I like
Still a note.
yeah. And again, exactly. Still, if it wasn't a Note, then maybe that would have been like a little, down factor. But it's the Note, and the Edge adds a different element that you may or may not use depending on how you use a smartphone. And for me, I use it more, so I like that in there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I thought it was like something alien that a lot. It's kind of like it was like smartwatches in 2012. Like people were like, "What do you do with?" I mean, 2013. Like, what do you do?
Yeah. Hey, Sony been cranking out smartwatches for a while.
Well, yeah.
Nobody
No, I mean,
knows.
Well, I'm just saying that's kind of what the Note Edge for me was. Like I had it, and I just felt like I couldn't even give it anything because it's the same thing as it just has a curve, and that really doesn't, like, a lot of people who may not have the same personality as Eve won't really see a benefit in having it.
I mean, yeah, to a certain
Yeah.
degree it is. I do like the notifications to come in, especially when because you can do the sports ones. Like it tags the notification with the flag and colors of my team, so I already know what's coming up. As soon as it flashes by, like I know the game, and I already know, like it kind of gives me the right coordination, because you know how you get your notification on the top, and especially if you're, people like us, where we get so many notifications, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, emails, and all that, it just becomes things flashing on the top after a while. You just know that stuff is coming in. You don't know exactly what it is. But with the notifications on the side, like, especially when I have them coordinated, properly, like the whole side changes to, like, Arsenal, it's all red. I know, like, that's a game update or whatever the case may be, and I see all that. So like I said, those are little touches that for me, yeah, I see it, I'm like, oh, okay, scores 4-1, cool, like, done. I don't even need to do anything else. So those are the kind of things I like. But again, it's not something that a lot of developers have pushed anything for. So we don't know how far the extent is, but it doesn't take away from your phone using experience. So for me, I'm like, it's either you want the Edge or you don't want the Edge. You go for a Galaxy Note or you go for a Note Edge. Simple.
Either way, you win, or
Mm-hmm.
Samsung wins anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
um. Okay, Chris got another one. For a functional laptop, you have to pay $1,000 plus, but you can buy a laptop for $350 from just about any manufacturer.
Yeah, 1G is about the amount for a very solid laptop. Let's just
Solid
call
one.
it that. Yeah.
Or you
$350.
could just get a Mac and be.
No, but that's the same price you pay. See, that's the thing. You pay the same price for a Mac anyway.
No, I know Macs actually cost more. They're almost.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I
I
mean,
get Air, yeah, but yeah, like something solid, yeah.
yeah, something solid. I mean, you're looking at. I mean, if any because you're all using the same parts, right? That's when you go into i5, i7 with 8 gigs of RAM.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're looking at that 1G price range for anything at that point.
All right. Okay. Lou actually stole my next thing, but I'll let him do it. Lou asked, "What phone are you looking forward to in 2015?" And I guess to piggyback off that, phone, tablet, platform updates, anything you look forward to in 2015.
I don't really have anything that I saw that I was just like, oh, I'm really waiting on this to come out. So, and that, it may be because I've been like unplugged for a little bit, but
Yes, you have.
I haven't seen anything that I was just like, oh, I need that, or I need to, I'm waiting to see who's going to respond to it. So maybe, after this weekend, you guys can tell me what's coming out, and then I'll be like, oh, yay.
Sound like a tech snob, like.
I know, right? I know. She's like,
You know what?
okay.
I said this in a hangout with somebody else a couple of months ago. We've hit a plateau where everything that's coming out is almost the same thing that we've been seeing. So unless somebody's come out with a phone that answers, you know, I don't know, that would book reservations for me based on my thought process. There isn't anything that's going to come out that is going to be like super amazing, like what Apple did with the iPhone or when they came out with the Note. So it's, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll give you mine. Mine is remember the leaks of the Lumia 1030, the McLaren.
That's supposed to be coming.
Yeah, well, it's made, but it looks like everyone's saying it's going to come with Windows 10 next year. That I'm waiting for because I mean, you know me and phone cameras. If the camera ain't quality, your phone is trash. So, I mean, that has a 50 megapixel camera on there with.
I mean, you could just have a Samsung camera. I'm just never.
You could just get a 1020, which is still better than every other camera on any phone.
But she got her NX1.
And she has an NX1, so I mean, like, just go away. Don't even talk. Okay? Just like like that, close.
No, I haven't. I only have. Which one is this? Oh, this is the 30. This is what I've been using to shoot. But
yeah. You know what? I have a question for the 30 for you afterwards.
Okay.
But let's take this to phones here, okay?
I'm sorry. I just don't think. It's a Windows phone, and they haven't. If they come out with a better OS, then as a consumer, as a techie, I can use the 1030 because I like what Windows Phone have to offer. But most people are not like, if it's just not other than it being a great camera.
I mean, I would disagree. I think Windows Phone problem, besides the app thing we talked about to a certain degree, I think it's a U.S. problem really at the end of the day. Because I was looking at some of the numbers of their growth. Their growth in Asia, South America, and Africa is big.
Oh yeah, overseas
is big. So I think I think here it's just no, BlackBerry's actually decreased.
They have.
Yeah, BlackBerry.
Overseas. BlackBerry has. At one point, they were staying alive because of their overseas.
Yeah, they were staying alive. It's decreased because of Windows Phone, because Windows Phone has chewed up that, because Windows Phone is in Europe, it's at 15% now in Europe, which even that I wasn't expecting to get that high there. I think it's it's to a certain degree, it's a US usability problem, because Android and iOS are very similar in functionality, or use case, so to speak. But when it comes to, like, say for me, when it comes to phone I'm expecting, it's a 1030 or whatever they're gonna call it, just because having I like the idea of stuff like the NX30 and the NX1 where you can take photos, but you can even attest to it. The pairing software to your smartphone where you can transfer photos is still not as smooth. You have to pair it each time, especially the NX30. I don't have these on the NX1.
No, you don't have to pair it each time.
Mine has to pair each time.
Oh no, I don't have a problem. It's just
I have to pair it each time I do it, so it just annoys the heck out of me.
I don't know what you mean by pairing. Like I cut.
No, I mean like the Wi-Fi pairing to the phone. So whenever you bust out the NX30, you want to take some photos.
Oh.
You want
to find the camera to.
Well, no, you can. Well, we can talk about it later. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, but maybe there's a workaround. But like for me, my use case was like that kind of stuff, and I'd rather just have a good camera where I can. But then again, if I'm posting on Instagram,
so what
it's just so useless.
You just want a whack Windows phone just so you don't have to carry around 2 devices.
Dude, I carry 3 devices, okay, and I don't consider Windows Phone. I don't consider it whack. I just like I like to be perfected on the phone because no one is going to spend the money for an NX30. Mass consumers won't. We all know that, right? It's $1,000 camera, right? The NX, or maybe slightly less now. The NX1 is $1,008 for an NX. So no one, the majority consumer won't. The reason why I like the phones like the 1020 caused the conversation for people to put bigger sensors on phones.
Yep.
Whether the phone sold well or not, I was happy they threw that out there because it forced people to say we need better cameras on phones. When Nokia says, "Hey, we take a picture. Look at your phone. Look at this. Done." So everyone started putting better cameras on. I want to keep seeing better cameras on phones because no one is buying a point and shoot anymore. No one's going to spend the money to buy a Micro Four Thirds or even enthusiasts will buy those cameras.
Yeah.
It's the regular who are now using their smartphones or tablets. I don't know why people
Correct.
use tablets to take photos. I don't know why
People are
people use
using their
iPad.
iPads. They're like, "Oh, this thing can get shut off. Shoot,
Yeah, yeah. If you go to you go to a Nigerian party, you will see Nigerians. Gosh, Jesus, save me. Just people cannot be using tablets to take pictures.
It's a real thing. It's
Yeah, it is,
tablet
but I
photography.
do like that. So I would like to see somebody push it again. Just keep pushing it constantly. If this phone can help push that, I'm all for it. Because the better the photos you can take off your phone, the better for everyone. At the end of the day, yeah, altogether. So that's my phone. I can't wait to see in 2015.
I'm actually looking forward to the next HTC flagship because it looks like they've definitely ditched the ultra pixel experiment. I mean, it was what it was. It lasted. It came and went. So, um, I was definitely leery about a lot of their like, okay, so what, you're ditching it? You guys don't make great cameras. This little guy is it's not perfect, but
It's
it's
garbage.
it's
What
not
is
perfect.
that?
This is the HTC Re
Oh,
camera.
that looks
It's
like
this is
that
actually
looks like an asthma pump.
yeah. You can do that. It's surprisingly good. It's not like crazy. It's kind of like a GoPro for regular people. It's a bit overpriced, but
So you like it because I'm very like I did 2 vlogs with it. Yeah, indoors you have to super light the place for this thing to capture anything properly.
yeah, you do. You do.
Yeah,
I guess I'm used to that, but as far as like I didn't expect it to be. I guess I had terribly low expectations for it, so it was a little bit better. Yeah, you need to have well lit and stuff. The mic is pretty good on it, or yeah.
mm-hmm.
Guess it's just me. All right. So the
Yeah.
fact that they did this lets me know that they're kind of in the right direction. So when they talk about putting a 20 megapixel rear facing and a 13 megapixel in the front for their new flagship. So it makes me a little less nervous as far as them in the optical department. That used to be Motorola. Motorola's camera used to be crap. I mean, they're not perfect, but they're a lot better than what they was a year or two ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess that's it. I'm not. I guess I'm kind of with Tori. Was kind of pointing. It's just like it's gonna be another thing. Like, oh, the Galaxy X S6. Okay, well, what do you got? Oh, you got metal frame. Okay, all right. Wake me up when the Note comes out.
True. True.
I mean, that's since the Note 2. That's how it's been. Like the S series is like, Note's gonna be better. So don't waste your money.
Valid points.
Mm. All right, we got a bunch of questions here. Let's try to knock these out and wrap it up.
Okay.
Lou Rod asks which one of you guys' team is going to MWC and will Samsung or HTC steal that show? That's pretty much TE.
Yeah, we will have some peeps at MWC. Um, I think Samsung. I'm interested to see what they do with the S6, just because the S5 was underwhelming. It's not a bad phone. It's just underwhelming in terms of what it put out there for people. So
Yeah.
um, I think Samsung will try and steal the show because they launched with MWC last year. I don't see them not launching again, or I mean, they may do a separate event. But if they make any announcements, they would try and hype that phone till Jesus comes. So yeah, I'll probably say
Yeah.
because HTC did the event after MWC last year.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Chris says he's excited for Windows and Google to make up in 2015. I don't know if it's quite a makeup, more like a
I hope
workaround.
I, I hope so. I hope so.
I want to see it, but I mean, we'll
No,
see.
I mean, like I said, for me on Windows Phone is all I personally miss is Google Apps. If I can get Hangouts on Windows Phone, it's a wrap.
That's
Done.
it. Yeah.
I will use Windows Phone. No way. That's it.
Lou asks, with CES next week, what are you looking forward to seeing this year? More watches, or TVs, etc. Uh, it's gonna be It's gonna be a bunch of that. I mean,
Yeah, there'll be TVs. It's gonna be OLED TVs this year. A lot of
Yeah.
OLEDs.
4K OLED.
I can tell you this much that the after reviewing an OLED TV,
Never go back.
man, yeah, I'm telling you, my TV, my regular TV sitting out here, I feel like throwing out the window.
You
But
spoiled.
I need a TV, so it's gonna stay.
You can always
Uh,
tell what's gonna be hot at CES by the parties that people are throwing. So,
I,
like
I
Samsung had a bunch of parties last year.
I know we're talking about parties.
I'm not talking. Shut up. Can you follow me, please? You can always tell what's gonna be released by the type of parties that are being thrown. When
I
they have
know, I
big
know.
releases, they do parties. So, like the TV last year, Samsung had that big release for their curved TVs that
Yeah.
nobody purchased, but they had a super big party behind it. So,
it's like, uh-oh.
That's true. That's true.
I'm
You
Yeah,
just
know,
yeah.
serious it is.
I know. I said I don't know what you mean by parties.
oh. Right, it's embargoed until after the party.
I don't know what you mean by parties at all.
Mike asks, would you guys consider honorable mention or sleeper in terms of top smartphone for 2014? His was the Xperia Z3. Any thoughts?
Sleeper.
Like honorable mention. What you eating, Tori? Trying to mute? You don't hear the smacking?
Um,
I wouldn't say the Xperia 3 was a sleeper. It's either you are or you are not.
well,
I
no,
thought
not a lot of people reviewed. Not a lot of people actually bought the phone either. Too.
yeah, it was a solid phone. Like it was surprisingly good. It's like, wow, okay, you guys kind of getting a little bit, getting things a lot better in regards to software. But
And the phone was actually on a bunch of different, like the bigger name sites like Engadget and CNET. They all had them as the Xperia's on their list for top phones, and I was just like, how? Like, why?
it's a solid phone. The camera on there is pretty solid. It's a 20 megapixel Sony sensor. You know, everybody uses Sony sensors.
Everybody except Samsung, Apple. Oh, Apple does use Sony sensors.
No,
Right?
Apple uses Sony sensors. Yeah,
Samsung and Nokia.
yeah.
That's it.
Samsung and they use their own now, but
I never tried. I never reviewed, tested, or tried out the Z3, so I can't tell you. I guess my sleeper would be. I was gonna say the Alpha. I was gonna give it to the One Plus One, but I like no, that phone does not deserve.
you had too
So
many problems with yours.
I'd say for me the Alpha, just because even though it was a very limited release in the US with AT&T, it was kind of like last minute. It showed that Samsung can give you a solid offering, you know,
It
without
was a solid
compromising.
phone.
Yeah. So I'd say probably the Alpha for me.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I don't really have like I like the turbo, but the camera wasn't where it should be, and the Alpha. Yeah, I guess I agree with you in the Alpha. Like I said, the One Plus One is in my top, so I don't really have anything else. Let's see.
hmm
Any other questions? Are you interested in seeing how Samsung makes the S6 waterproof and metal?
Yeah, well, I think they can do that, and I don't think it'd be too hard.
Yeah, they probably put
Because
a coating over the
yeah,
metal.
the coating will be coated with metal, so I think that would be easy for them to do. It's the note that I want them to make waterproof, but we all know that once you slide out that S Pen, there's gonna be water going in that phone.
Yeah. Dave's like, you drop your note. Like, did you have the S Pen in or out? It's like, oh no.
Exactly, yeah. So that's what you're gonna face with that.
um, would the S series be better if they were released with the Note series, like the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus?
No,
No,
no.
it'd
I
be
think you
worse
release it.
actually.
Yeah, I think
No,
you release it separately, and I also think you
Yeah,
change the name. I think you call it something else. I think the S line has. I would say it's diminished, but because of what happened last year, you just rebrand it and come out with a new solid offering and say this is taking over from the S line and be done with.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
it could still be called Galaxy as long as people know it's Galaxy in there.
Yeah, that's all they need to know. Everything
Yeah,
else
they're
is
fine.
irrelevant.
I think people are fine with that.
I don't think anybody needs to do Apple's life cycle. Like they've carved their own little niche in being able to do that with their phones. Samsung drops a new phone like every couple of months, and that works for them because they don't. Android doesn't really have that cult following, so branding them together won't necessarily help the sales any or help anybody else want to buy it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would think it would actually hurt the sales of the S series because I would imagine if they both came out at the same time, it's like, well, I'm just gonna save them get this note. But all right, and we got one more. Um, does worse have to mean bad given the camera and the slippery body? I would say the M8 was one of the worst phones of the year. It's not bad, but it's not the best. Eh, I don't know. Um, I mean, there were a couple of slippery phones out here. I mean, the Nexus 6 isn't, it's not metal, but it's, the way it's shaped, that thing can slide off anything. Um, I wouldn't necessarily say it's the worst. I mean, the camera, I would say if anything, the camera made it, gave it a negative view, not the metal body, but that's just me.
Yeah, I don't. I didn't. I liked it, so I didn't have anything bad to say about it. The camera did suck, but you know, because I have other cameras, I
Yeah,
don't
it's not,
necessarily.
same here. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I got my NEX7, so I'm good.
Right.
And you have countless shooters in your stash.
I do. I'm looking at 4 of them right now.
Mm. And okay, we got one last one. Lou Rod asks, with most phones going with 2K and 4K, why is HTC still behind the curve? Good question. E, you there? 'Cause I think he stuck or frozen or something.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think what at the time. Oh, you gonna say something? Go ahead.
I think people have to remember that HTC just got back on the scene last year with smartphones and making stuff that people actually wanted.
Yeah.
So their learning curve is going to be um,
Sorry
a lot
about that.
higher for um, a phone company because they're eons behind other people in terms of smart technology and figuring out what consumers actually want. So I think if you look at it outside of the 2 phones that they've put out that have been solid phones, then you can get an idea that they still are behind in the technology. Like the first one was a great phone, but they were the underdog. So
You talking about the M7
yeah.
or the 1X?
No, the M7.
Okay.
They were the underdog. So you would have to come from a place where you understand that they're still trying to get the stuff in order. Like that phone wasn't. Go ahead.
No, no, no. I was answering something. Go ahead.
Okay. You're a weirdo. But yeah. So
Thanks.
I think that it's not that they're so behind the curve. I just think that they're still playing catch up.
Yeah. I mean, last year between the M7 and M8, a lot happened with the company itself. Like, they were bleeding, executives were leaving left and right. They were doing these massive brand ambassador deals that millions of dollars that did nothing for them. So I think it was rather than just being smart and spending and stuff and trying to just make sure they can put out something solid rather than trying to keep up with the Joneses more or
Right.
less. But I think since they got a lot of traction this year, we might see something. I have a feeling I have a feeling we probably won't this year. Maybe they'll come out with something later in the year and do something. But if not, I don't know. Maybe we'll see 4K video capabilities. Um, but as far as like a higher res display, I'm not sure. And it's even though everybody else is doing it, the real need to do it isn't really there yet. I mean, it'll probably come this year with Netflix and all these other content people cranking out 4K content, but it's not really there yet anyway. So to
Yeah.
tout a 2K or 4K screen doesn't really mean nothing yet.
You should do it. You still should. Because Samsung and LG have proven that you put in a 2K display, it does look better. I'm sorry if you can't
No,
see
it definitely does, but I'm just saying as far as
But
the benefits for, like, say, if
yeah, but
ATC can't afford to do it.
no, but it's also a marketing benefit where you have to showcase, something to your users that yeah, you are, you're not Apple where you can't say I'm not going to do it and everybody's like fine, or you make your own fake standards because you all know how Apple's displays for the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus are garbage compared to every other phone out there. Their PPI ratio is not that high, but they can claim because they call it Retina display and they can claim and they are a market leader to do that. But if you're not a market leader, then you have to surpass the market leader or match at the very least. And we know now that with the Note 4 and the G3 and the Nexus 6, you can put out a 4K display and it will not, a 2K display will not damage your battery life. So you know what? Go ahead and do it.
We'll
Because
see.
because what you're gonna have is people like me next year go, but he doesn't have a 2K display. Granted, yeah, it doesn't do much, but he doesn't have it. I would just state it. I'm just gonna tell people that.
You're bougie.
I'm not bougie. I'm just being factual. If you're gonna put a high-end phone, I didn't say mid-range, high-end,
Yeah,
then everything should be high-end. It's that
Mhm.
simple. Yeah. You know
I
what? You
agree.
can't buy Ferrari and Lamborghini and they give you the leather the same leather seats you find in a Honda. Come on, you'd be pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the same thing.
All right. And I guess final question: do you think Apple will go to 2K in 10 years?
Apple will go 2K when it needs to go to 2K. That's just pretty much it. When you know that
I don't think it'll
you
take 10 years, but it's not
oh,
gonna be next year.
2016 maybe.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be this year, definitely not. Because they're already having, the app developers already trying to keep up with the resolutions and different things, and then
Yeah, trying to keep up with
fragmentation
regular
they just created with the
1080p.
two
Yeah,
things.
just
Yeah,
1080p. I know. That's it.
yeah. So, and, they just started their own fragmentation between now three sizes to make phones, to make apps for. So it's like, and which a lot of them are still behind. A lot more came, but mm,
Hmm.
let's see. Uh, the headline for this chat, Thunder E is bougie. That was fun.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
I was like, I hope she agrees with that. All right, cool. Thank you, everybody, for watching, listening. I'd like to thank Thunder E, who's over at Board and Work. You could see him at BooredAtWork.com. BooredAtWork YouTube, especially BooredAtWork YouTube. He cranks out videos on a daily basis. Just
I
not yesterday.
apologize. I haven't put out videos in like 2 days or a day and a half.
Oh, 2 days. Oh, okay.
He's
My
yeah, that's slacking for him because he usually cranks out like a lot. But he if you've never been to the channel, he got tons of content for you. Especially if you're trying to upgrade your PS4, uh, put a bigger hard drive in there. I just watched that. That was good. That was a good video. Um,
thanks.
and then we got Tori from Glasses and Glitter, who is typing something right now.
No, I was smiling.
I'm messing with you. You can see her at GlassesandGlitter.com, Twitter, Google Plus. You have a YouTube channel. Where else can they find you, Tori?
Right now I'm most often on Instagram.
Oh,
I,
gotta check on the
I'll,
gram.
right, but I'll be back. I'll be back at a desk every day next week, and so you can find me everywhere that Rob just listed because I actually be in the front of a computer all the time.
Boom, there you go. And again, this is Rod from TechGuysSmartBuy.com. You can find us TechGuysSmartBuy.com. Same name YouTube channel. We're on the gram. We're on Facebook. We're around. And thank you for watching. Thanks, Chris, Lou, everybody else who chimed in, Mike. And thank you for watching and take care. And everybody have a happy new year and see you in 2015.
Yes.
Yes, see you in 16 hours or less. Or if you're in Australia, Happy New Year.
Yeah, exactly. Boom. So take care.